Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this video on the Scorpio full moon, which is happening on April the 23rd. So this full moon is illuminating the subconscious so we can create change in our life. Scorpio gives us the ability to dive deep, to go beyond the surface and to really see the underlying patterns at play in our life. So this is closing off a very transformational month, a very transformational month. April, we had eclipse season, Mercury retrograde, a powerful conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus, all signifying massive change. And part of what is making April so significant is not just the month itself and all the transformations that were activated, but it's the ripple effect of these energies that are opening up much bigger cycles that will play out for years to come. So, for those of you who are new here, a warm welcome. My name is Kara. I'm a cosmic channel. So, I work with astrology, the Akashic records, and I support the light workers and healers of this world in creating the big impact you came here to make, in receiving abundantly for your soul work, and doing it all in a way that honors your unique energetic blueprint so you create success on your terms in a way that resonates with your path and your purpose. So if this resonates, be sure that you subscribe. I also love to work with astrology in a way that supports our manifestation. So it's not as though what's happening in the cosmos gets to dictate the way our life works. It's more a reflection of it because we are all interconnected. So these energies are at play within us as well. It's a way of more deeply understanding and connecting to ourselves and understanding the changes we are navigating in life. But you always have free will. And how you work with these archetypal energies will present very differently, whether you are in the shadow aspects or the higher aspects. And a way that I'm called to work with astrology is helping you align with the highest path, the highest potentiality for this energy. So let's dive right in here, going over a bit of the storyline that has been unfolding this month before I pull up the chart for the Scorpio full moon. Because in astrology, nothing is happening in isolation. And if we look at it that way, we're missing the magic, we're missing the larger picture. So we had an incredibly transformative eclipse season that we just navigated. Let me know in the comments how you are feeling after that. Like, wow, this was huge release with the lunar eclipse, which was a full moon, and a lot of physical releasing for people, a lot of physical symptoms emerging. And it makes sense because there's so much we hold onto in our body. We can hold on to trauma or pain from a lot of past experiences that just put our nervous system in overdrive. And a lot of that was being cleared out this eclipse season. And then as we welcomed in the solar eclipse, the new moon, it's this new path, it's a new chapter. And not only do the solar eclipses, which are a new moon, always signal this energy of a new beginning, this one happened on the North Node, which is the path we are here to lean into. And it happened in the first sign of the zodiac, Aries. So all over, written all over this energy was the theme of a new season, a new chapter that you are embarking on in your life. And there's such a courageous energy here, like a passion for this new timeline you are stepping into. Now, I also feel really called to share as well that if you're still in this energy of navigating the change, moving through the releasing, getting clarity on this new chapter, that's perfectly normal. It's not like we have the full moon, we have 2 weeks to release, and then it's a new moon and it's a new intention again, and we just are trapped in this cycle. No, not at all. Energy doesn't work that way. The full moon and the new moons are beautiful indicators to go a little deeper and look at what I'm called to clear and release, and then what I'm called to bring in. But it's not like this neat little box of, okay, this happens and then we move to this, and it's bigger than that. It is a bigger picture. So my guess is you're still feeling these changes and transformations, still clarifying that vision and still calibrating to this new version of you that's emerging. And again, perfectly okay, perfectly normal. So many of us are experiencing that. We also had Mercury retrograde throughout this, still retrograde at the time of the full moon as well, although shortly after it will move direct. And this retrograde is actually very supportive of being intentional around what we are saying yes to, what we are moving forward with. Are we in alignment with our path and purpose? That's a big thing that came into focus this month. Are you in alignment with what lights you up, which feels what feels like your highest path and timeline? Are you sharing your soul gifts, your knowledge, your skills with the world? There's a strong call to do that, and an awareness of where we're misaligned or something that may have once felt aligned in our life, whether it's a person or a path we chose in our business that no longer is. And we must have the courage to continue to evolve and grow and examine and explore these questions. It doesn't mean we need all the answers to the questions right away. There's power in simply exploring these things and making those little tweaks as we're called to make them, so we can ultimately feel in a place of greater alignment with our path. And greater alignment does not mean no more challenges. In fact, anytime we are learning, evolving, and growing, there is going to be an element of discomfort until we calibrate to that new way of showing up. The last pattern I want to mention here, the last cosmic aspect, I should say, before we pull up the chart, is the conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus that was exact on April 20th and 21st, but still at play at the time of this full moon as well. Big expansion coming in with these energies. Jupiter is the expander. It is the planet of abundance and good fortune, meeting up with Uranus, the awakener or disruptor. If you followed my videos, you've heard me talk about the difference there. But either way, this is massive growth. This really is a deeper awareness of where we are holding back, where we are not honoring our truth, where we're not honoring our intuition, where we say we want something, but we're not actually showing up and fully going for it, where we're holding back out of fear. It's amplifying all of that, but there is a very positive energy. I like to stay away from positive or negative because honestly, it's not really about that, whether it's positive or negative, but these energies definitely are extremely supportive of being optimistic about where we are going on our path, even if we're still asking some of those questions of where we are no longer feeling fulfilled, where we are called to step out of our comfort zone. Again, there's power in simply asking the questions. We don't always need to know all of the answers right away. If we did, we wouldn't be asking the questions to begin with. So there's power in simply posing those questions, and this energy is incredibly expansive and transformational. So if you know your birth chart, I would absolutely be looking at where this conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus is taking place for you, because it's also opening up a new 14-year cycle. These planets meet up around every 14 years, and it's a new chapter. And where this conjunction was happening in Taurus, we're definitely moving into a season where we're going to see huge financial changes to the economy, and a deeper understanding of the role we have in caring for Mother Gaia and caring for this planet, because Taurus is very, very connected to Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, as well as our bodies, our health, how we feel in our body. So just a little preview that leads us to this full moon in Scorpio. I'm going to share my screen here, give you a visual of this chart. So we have the moon in Scorpio at 4 degrees, opposing the sun in Taurus at 4 degrees. An opposition between the moon and the sun is what makes it a full moon. So we're working with the Scorpio Taurus axes. Now, it's key to keep in mind here that this archetypal energy of Scorpio is alive within all of us somewhere. The house placement that it is in your birth chart will reveal where these energies are alive within you. Sometimes we think if we don't have planets in a sign, these energies aren't relevant to us, and it's just not true. We have these zodiac signs ruling one of the 12 houses in our birth chart, and we interact with people that have these different energies, right? So knowing them is going to be useful for us. So the Scorpio energy is about transformation. Again, a big theme around this full moon is illuminating the subconscious, bringing the shadow into the light so we can create positive change. The shadow of this would be staying stuck in the shadow in an in an endless cycle of healing. And we're called to come into the light. And even as we move through our healing work, to remember this doesn't mean we need to be suffering. Suffering is how we're giving the meaning we are giving to what we are moving through. We don't need to be in that space of suffering or struggle. Yet this is indicative of transformation, moving through the depth of emotion. Scorpio reminds us to not be afraid of diving deep, remembering that we may move through these different emotions, but emotions don't define who we are. They are fleeting experiences. Sometimes they can feel like they stay with us a while if we grab onto them. We take them with us, we carry them around. But in and of themselves, emotions aren't who we are. Emotions come and go. And I think it's helpful to watch our language around this as well. For instance, when we may say to people like, I am happy, or I am sad, or I'm positive, or I'm negative, we start to attach our identity to these emotions instead of I'm feeling happy, I'm experiencing sadness. It's not who you are at your core. And it may just sound like a play on words, but it's actually really, it's life altering when we recognize that we are not our emotions, and then we are better able to move through them as well. So something to keep in mind at this full moon, where there can be a lot surfacing, a lot coming into the light to be explored, to be moved through, or to simply be released, to be healed. As you move forward on your path, Scorpio is extremely intuitive. It's a fixed water sign, one of the most intuitive signs of the zodiac, and a reminder to really trust where your intuition is guiding you. Sometimes intuition is downplayed in our society. If we need the facts, we need the data, and then we feel like if we don't have that, we can't trust our intuition. And we all know how that plays out. When we don't trust our intuition, we later regret it, or we tend to say, I knew it. I just knew something was off. I felt it. Yes, you did. Your intuition is connected to your soul. It transcends logic. Always trust where it is guiding you. Now, some of the other shadow aspects of Scorpio can be manipulation, control, the desire to seek revenge, staying lost in the shadow, right? Where we're constantly in this cycle of healing and never allowing ourselves to come up for air or enjoy the beauty of this world. And, the sun in Taurus here is like, hey, come back, get grounded, eat a delicious meal, go for a walk in nature, enjoy the beauty and pleasures of this world. So we'll get more to that energy though in a moment. So just things to be aware of with the Scorpio is where we may be lashing out at others. We can lash out at others, if our nervous system is really dysregulated because we're already in this hyperactive state, and then someone can say something and we just don't have the bandwidth, and it triggers us over the edge to lash out. And it's very common in our society today, where we're very overstimulated, if we don't consciously take time to move energy, to ground, to meditate. Like, I have a practice every morning of meditating, whether that is going into the records, or I'll do subliminal meditations at time. My favorite, of course, is being in the Akashic records, realigning to my highest path, my highest self, anchoring that in. But before I do anything else, I make sure to meditate, so I'm grounded in my energy before I go out in the world. And if we don't get grounded in our energy first, we're pulled in all these directions by other people with their own agendas or just their own energy. So having those practices to come home to ourselves first is just so powerful and helpful. Now, the full moon here, the main aspect at play is a square with Pluto. So we have Pluto down here in the sign of Aquarius at 2 degrees. So it is forming the square with the moon. And Pluto is the ruler of this moon as well. Pluto is the phoenix. Pluto is the death, rebirth, regeneration energy, the alchemist, the magician archetype, goddess Kali vibes. It is an unstoppable force, basically. So a square formation in astrology signals the point of tension. So when I'm doing readings with people or with my private clients, I give them updates constantly on their chart and what's happening and the portals that are opening up. That's part of my private mentorship. Of course, you're going to get to know your chart very well. Anytime I see a square aspect, clients are very aware that this is an area of their life where they've struggled or there has been tension. We're aware of these square aspects. The trines, not always, because they come so easy to us, but a square aspect is a point of tension in astrology. And this pull in energy here basically is quite clear. This moon squaring Pluto, there's an area in your life where it's time to make a change, and there's struggle and fear around creating this change, but it is time. And you're called to do this. It's time. It really is time, and you know it. And you're resisting it. And I can understand where you would be resisting it because change is scary. The way our subconscious mind works is anything that is different is seen as a threat. Simply because it's the unknown doesn't mean it is innately a threat. It means our mind is perceiving it that way. And this is where being able to soothe our nervous system, limitless ways we can do that, right? Whether it's walks in nature, breath work practices, being in our Akashic records, grounding, resetting ourselves so we can begin to reprogram how we see these changes in our life, and we're no longer registering it as a threat. Now, I'm not saying it's easy either. This may require rearranging some things. This also could be very internal, especially with the moon in Scorpio. This could be something it's time to look at, to heal, to let go of and address so you can expand into more joy. It could be a pattern, it could be an emotion wanting to be released, but there's something internal wanting to be transformed. Now, there's also a T-square in effect here. So Pluto is also squaring the sun over here in Taurus. So this change and transformation you're being called to make, that I see is very internal, will have an external effect in the world, and that's the square with the sun here. It will also invite you to change the way you see yourself and what is possible for you. Now, the T square comes into effect with this opposition as well. So we have the sun squaring Pluto, the moon squaring Pluto, and then the opposition between the sun and the moon. So a point of tension, if we look at where it's being released, it's Pluto in Aquarius. So it's saying create, lean into that change. It's time to make this change. It's time to create something new. Now, Pluto in Aquarius, we can go even deeper with this. And the message I'm hearing from the records around it is an understanding and awareness of how your actions influence those around you, how your decisions impact those around you, how your thoughts and energy influence the collective. It's not in isolation. We are all connected, and Pluto in Aquarius understands the bigger picture. It understands the ripple effect of the choices we make. Sometimes we feel we're insignificant, and we can go into victim mode, and we can talk about what's happening in our world as if we have no say in it. And that's a very disempowering place to be. We want to come into our power. Pluto in Aquarius is about recognizing every human matters. Every person on this planet matters. You matter. And understanding that as you show up in a new way, this positively influences others in your world, and it influences the planet. It influences what's active in the collective consciousness. So this transformation feels very personal to you, but yet the ripple effects are going to influence the planet at large. You matter. You totally matter. Other things to look at in this chart, this is a very dynamic full moon here. There's a lot at play. The co-ruler of Scorpio is Mars. Mars is currently in Pisces conjunct Neptune. So Mars also was the ruler of the solar eclipse. And there's really something to look at here about Mars in Pisces at this time, about the spiritual changes we are undergoing as well. For so many of us, understanding our spiritual gifts in a new way, understanding how we're called to share them with the world in a new way. There's also Mars in Pisces. There's different ways this could be explored. It's definitely about the unity consciousness as well, and the interconnectedness of all of us. It's also the last sign of the zodiac. So it also speaks to what it's time to bring closure to. And of course, any part of transformation is what we're shutting the door on so we can now enter a new room. There's an ending, beginning, right? Kind of vibe. So Mars in Pisces is speaking to that. Now, conjunct Neptune, again, this is spiritual evolution and growth, and that so many are going through right now, like really understanding their spiritual gifts in a new way, the power of their intuition in a new way, trusting your intuition, and a deeper understanding of how we are all in this together. And again, Pluto in Aquarius is really like hitting that home as part of a much, much larger cycle that is going to be at play here. So this energy is quite significant as well, this Mars in Neptune in Pisces. So, okay. The other thing I want to touch on here, so we do have the Sun in Taurus just entering Taurus season, and there's an element here of honoring your body. So at the time of the full moon, we're doing a lot of inner emotional work, but overall, as we move into Taurus season and we move into May, it is going to feel like a slower pace. It doesn't mean things come to a standstill at all. It's just more grounded. It's more of a grounded vibe. And Taurus reminds us to work at a pace that honors our body, to work at a pace that honors our body, to not forget about our body as we move forward in our creations, as we move forward with launching our programs, putting our work into the world. Don't forget how your body's responding, what your body needs to thrive, what your body needs to get on board with what you are creating. Taurus makes us very aware of that and really emphasizes this grounded energy. Like, take time to be outdoors, to walk by the ocean if you can, to go for nature walks, to connect with Mother Earth. Now, this is also where we have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, although you can see it's at a much later degree. So this was exact at 21 degrees on April 20th, 21st, and then Jupiter is moving on, moving quite quickly, preparing to enter Gemini as we move into May. So we still have this conjunction here, though, Jupiter, Uranus, and this is the expansion I was talking about of feeling that pull of something greater moving you forward, calling you forward. And, you know, I don't think you're going to be able to deny that pull. Like, we're at a time where it's like, let me do this. Like, I can't not go with where my soul is calling me. And don't overthink this either. Like, this is a moment by moment of leaning in, trusting our intuition, saying yes to our vision. It's not just a one-time declaration, it's moment to moment. Every single decision we make, we're either aligning with our highest path or we're moving away from it. And there's no judgment around it. It's just simply, are we in alignment with our highest path for joy and abundance, for impact, or are we not? And at any time we can choose again. We always have a different decision. There's always another moment. All our power is in the present moment to be aware of what we are now choosing. The last thing I'm going to mention here is we do still have quite a lineup in Aries. Wherever the Aries energy is in your chart, you will want to look at that as well. And of course, where's Scorpio? Where's Taurus? These are the main themes. What I will say as well, I'm going to open up access to my inner circle, my divine creators inner circle. So I will put that below for anyone wanting deeper support. In there, I show you how to find these aspects in your chart. So that's why it just came into my awareness now. If you're like, I don't know how to find all these things, one part of the inner circle is being able to explore your birth chart, exploring your records, becoming a conscious creator, fine-tuning your spiritual gifts, knowing how to bring them out into the world, share them, receive abundantly. So if you're called to be in a very supportive community with a ton of helpful information on your spiritual path, divine creators, inner circle, the place to be. So I'll put that below. So this energy in Aries here, we have Venus there, we have Chiron, we have Mercury retrograde and the North Node. This again is the signal of the new chapter, the new timeline you're now beginning to calibrate to and step into. And there is this energy of leadership as well. Like, where are you waiting for permission? Where are you looking around at too much of what other people are doing? And it's time just to trust what is pulling you, what is calling you. Let others empower you, allow others to inspire you. But if we get too caught in their other people's energy or what other people are doing, there's an entanglement that happens that takes us away from hearing our truth. So, this is about trusting yourself as you move forward, having the courage and confidence to say yes to where your heart is guiding you. These are the main energies here for our full moon in Scorpio. I would love if you could say hi below and share with me what's resonating, what you are releasing and letting go of in the Scorpio full moon. And I'll attach those helpful links for you below to the inner circle. I have a free gift on Akashic Meditations. I'm also opening up the wait list to my signature program, the Lightworkers Rise Academy. So I will attach all of that below. You can also connect on Instagram for cosmic guidance in between these new and full moon videos that I do. Sending you all so much love. Enjoy this transformative energy, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.